Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about all the modifications I've ever done to my E90 BMW. So right now the car is dirty, but you can't really tell because it's being wrapped matte gray, Avery matte gray. I figured this video could be inspiration for you guys if you're looking to modify your E90 and you're looking for ideas. This is a pre-LCI, but you can't tell because I've done the conversion on it. We did the taillights and the trunk lid. All this is being covered on the channel, but I'm summarizing it here in one place. I saw a video recently from Vehicle Virals where he kind of spelled out all the pricing and whatnot. I figured it's a good idea. And actually it's something I had on my mind as well. And I'll explain why toward the end of the video. So one of the modifications I did was Style 193M wheels, which were optional depending on the package and what year of E90 you would have purchased. And it has pretty much brand new PS4S tires. You can't go wrong with them. Really loving them. So the LCI facelift included a new hood, headlights, M Sport bumper. Some people may not like these, but they're the M3 style mirror caps. You can see the adaptive cruise control sensor that's been retrofitted. It lights up this section right here where you can see that car. It's fully functional even though this is a manual. And if you notice, I have M3 style gauges, but the only way to have adaptive cruise control functional and this look would be to modify a standard gauge set to look like M3 gauges. As you can see, that moved. I even modified this wheel. I added a second motor to drive this. That's in another video, but it's fully functional. So we have custom gauge faces, red modified needles, and fully functional, yet it still is an adaptive cruise control car. We have the P3 gauges, and right now I have it displaying oil pressure. So we got a forged carbon wrap on the interior trim. We have an M Performance Alcantara shift boot and a ZHP 6-speed shift knob. Now the headlights have been customized. They were painted black on the inside instead of gray. And then we have these UHP LED rings, which are kind of like an off-white purple, similar to the color of xenon headlights. And of course the full LCI conversion in the rear, which includes a new trunk lid. This is an optional spoiler. It has the LED taillights, M Sport bumper. What you're seeing front and rear is OEM. Now I used to have an LSD conversion, but it was done when this car was automatic, so it's a small case. It was a small case. I retrofitted the larger case, and it used to have a bracket to support the differential. That's no longer there because I haven't gotten one for the larger case and or converted to LSD, but that is something I have done over the years. You'll find that on the channel. So we have the Android head unit upgrade, fully functional. Now this F-Series steering wheel is from an F10. You can't get one from an F30, it won't fit. So they tend to go for a lot more money, like $500-600, even used $400 minimum in rough shape. So this steering wheel was retrofitted. Head-up display retrofit that is flickering on camera, but not in real life. We have a metal coolant tank, Turner Motorsports. We have BMS aluminum vacuum canisters. And of course, you know, your typical dual cone intakes, steel braided brake lines. And then we also have the brass guide pins for the calipers. By the way, when I did these headlights, I did a UV coating on them, so it's holding up really well. Can't see it here, but we have B58 coils, and then we have the bracket conversion with the harness conversion, as well as B58 spark plugs. Intercooler wise, I'm running the 5.5 stepped because I wanted to retain the adaptive cruise sensor. Right now I have the under tray removed, but you can see M3 control arms. And most of you guys know, but I manual swapped this car. It is a mod, but technically you can get them that way. And I have the double shear selector rod, which gives you a better feel. Can't really make it out here, but I installed M3 diff bushings. You have a pedal upgrade over there. I did simple things like the LCI style headlight knob, the G20 style crystal start button. Now, some people will find that tacky, but I just did it for content, to be honest. On the transmission side, we have a single mass flywheel, M factory, as well as a 550i clutch. I have upgraded diverter valves. Then we have the VTT aluminum outlets, aftermarket oil cooler. So I have the aluminum power steering pulley upgrade in case it makes contact with the subframe, it won't break. Over here we have the aluminum Mickey Mouse flange You won't be able to make it out, but I have the upgraded fuel line and sensor with the little isolator to avoid vibration. I have the Helix 4X HPFB overdrive. Again, in the headlights, I have xenon bulb upgrades that are a little bit more white. An ethanol content sensor. I have a motive reflex. I have an MSD81 DME, which is known to have better luck with driving the coils with a higher dwell. 10 micron filter for the Helix to filter the fuel. In the fuel tank side, I have a stage 3 fuel pump setup, so I got dual Marlboro 450s. I did that a long time ago as a DIY. And of course we have the DAW stage 2 plus turbos, which have about 20,000 miles on them, and they've been on there for a few years now. Flawless, working great. So you guys have been asking for updates on those. I'll put a link in the description if you guys are interested, because they've been serving me quite well. The 775 RS stage 2 plus. I think these are 750s. I don't really recall, but they're definitely stage 2 plus. And like any N54, it's got downpipes. You got the 2-inch inlets to work with these turbos. In the valve cover area, you have the RB PCV valve upgrade. Down in here, we have the N20 map sensor. A superficial mod, but smoke side markers. And you can't have a modified N54 without an aluminum charge pipe. We have a reverse camera. So this car has a couple 100,000 miles, but you wouldn't be able to tell by the interior condition and exterior. It's been a great car, and the reason I say that is I just sprung a small little leak over here that I'm going to have to fix. I think it's related to power steering. So quick update, I fixed that oil leak. I figured I'd include it in the video in case one of you guys were interested and you're wondering what that was all about. But right there I had an O-ring that was slipping out under pressure, so it was the O-rings that came with my aftermarket oil cooler kit. I put fatter O-rings in there and buttoned it up, and it's really secure now and bone dry. I've been idling it for quite a while. Gave the engine bay a bath just to make sure all is well. Figured you guys could hear how the engine sounds as well. You can hear the single mass flywheel at idle, but it's not too bad. I have the idle set at 900 RPM, so it's completely leak free and problem free. By the way, the oil pressure sender for my E3 gauges is right there. Fully warmed up, it registers around 34 PSI idling. But otherwise, mechanically, I just put brand new, just literally like a week ago, brand new Bilstein shocks. You can see them in there. Got great tires. And if you go back through the channel, you'll see all the mechanical maintenance I've done on this car. I've taken care of all the common problems. It's been awesome. And it's a really good car, of course. It's got 200,000 miles. Engine has, when I bought it, it was supposedly 63,000 miles, so it would have under 100,000. That's if we trust the junkyard that I bought from, but so far I don't really have any reason to not believe it. It runs great. I may have missed a couple modifications, but that's everything I can think of. The car is in really good condition, and I want to outline all the modifications I've done and what makes this thing unique. Of course, there's a ton of maintenance that's being done to keep it running, and if you go through the channel, you'll see how well this car was taken care of. But if it isn't obvious, by the way I'm talking through this video, I'm going to be putting this thing up for sale. So this is actually another day. I thought about what I want to do for pricing. So I will list this on eBay. I'm going to give it a few days, so it's early November now. Check the description to see if there's an eBay listing, but I'll give it a few days if you guys want to put in a generous offer for it. If I get one close to what I was thinking and everything seems to work out with the logistics and location and whatnot, then I will consider just accepting a deposit and letting you guys know in the description that the car sold. But for now, we're going to just put it on eBay. I'll give it a few days. Feel free to reach out via email. I'm going to put my email in the description. I was thinking of putting a reserve on the eBay listing of around 15K, just to give you an idea. So we'll just kind of take it from there. If you guys were thinking you really want this car and you're going to want to make it enticing enough where I don't even want to bother listing it on eBay and it's close to what I was thinking and all the logistics work out, I will consider just taking a deposit and then letting everybody know that I committed to somebody and the car is no longer available. I'm not looking to get all my money back, of course, right? You don't get even a small percentage of your mod money back, but you do pretty well when you part it out. You could probably get half of what they're worth, maybe a little bit less, but I have access to a whole bunch of spare parts from that 135, and we're not going to put the same mods on that car as this car had, even though that would save me a lot of money. It wouldn't be good for content. So what I'm going to do is just take stock parts off that, put it on here. These things, seem to go for 12K if they're sorted and a good motor and everything as a manual sedan. You know, that's without even M Sport and whatnot. And then, you know, those mods are worth at least 7, 8K, you know, to the right person. So it kind of gives you an idea of where I'd like to be, just to give you an idea. And I'm not going to drag it along, and I'm not going to try to squeeze every last dollar. If someone wants to come in with a generous offer to make it where it's enticing enough that I just want to let it go, then I'm happy to do so. You're getting a unique car with cool features. It's pretty much loaded, and at the end of the day, you'll have something that has a bit of history, and you can tell people, hey, this used to be my car, and you know, it's been featured on the channel, and maybe it'll hold its value better than your average E90 just because there's so much history with it. So that's my thinking. If you guys are interested, reach out by email, and if that doesn't really pan out the way I was hoping, no big deal. I'll put it on eBay, put the reserve gets beat, then she's gonna go. If it doesn't, then we start the part out, and then maybe another update with the new listing as a stock car and or offers to take it stock, but probably gonna be a little less appealing to you guys if it was just a stock E90. All right, cutting back over to my original video. I know that may disappoint some of you guys, but if you know, I have the shop now and I'm going to be flipping these cars. I bought that 1 Series so that we can keep N54 content going and maybe revisit some of the mods I did to this car with higher quality and more knowledge anyway. And if my asking price is out of whack, maybe it is, I don't really have a sense for the market. What I would do is just pull a bunch of stock parts off the 1 Series, make this thing closer to stock, and then part it out, and then just sell it like this, you know, but, you know, cosmetically like this, but of course with stock turbos, stock components, and just put it more closer to whatever market value would be. It is a 6-speed sedan in decent condition with LCI conversion, so that alone is going to have a decent value. You know, a couple flaws like the tint isn't perfect, but very few little things that are going to make this thing not seem like a really good car for someone. And don't worry, there will be a lot of E90 content on this channel. I will buy them as flip cars, and to keep the N54 content rolling, we bought that stock 135, which has all the potential you'd ever want, 96,000 miles. So I'm going to cut over to that as we conclude this video to talk about what we have planned for that car. So don't worry, we still will have E90 content as I buy them as flip cars potentially, but also we got an N54 on the channel and we're just starting from scratch. It's got a clean Texas title, and we can arrange for shipping, you know, of course at your expense given how expensive shipping is, but it's in SoCal right now. If you're within a few hour drive, we can probably work something out. This car has tons of life on it, you know, makes over 550 wheel horsepower and is in great shape. I'm actually running it on 91 with just stage 2 plus, and I have the Helix off right now just because I was daily driving it quite a bit. It's still really fast, but you know, we could put it back to exactly how it was with the 93 octane tune. Easily makes over 550 wheel reliably, probably the limit of that clutch. But if you guys have ever wanted to own this car, here's your chance. And you know, I'll just do it again on another car. For now, we're doing the 1 Series, and you know, this has had all my attention for many years. I've had it for almost 8 years. All right, let's cut over to the 1 Series and show you how it looks after the detail, and talk about how that car is going to be the main feature of the channel in terms of modifications for N54s. All right, so in case you guys missed it, this will be the new star of the channel. It's a 135. We did the detail on it. I've restored it cosmetically. We have M4 rims for it, which I haven't put on yet. The plan is to potentially 1M convert this. So it'll be a 1M convertible. Try to do as much OEM as possible, but we'll see. So here's how she's looking after her detail. It just needs a little bit of paintless dent removal, and it hasn't been washed after the detail, so you have some compound and whatnot in the cracks. And if you can't tell, that quarter panel doesn't match, you know, got it for a good price as a project car. So far I did the steering wheel, OEM shift knob, the leather was re-dyed, I fixed the screen. It's a low mileage car, as you can see, 96,000. The engine bay was detailed. This was all done by Joel from Raleigh Motorsports. If you're in the SoCal area and you want a detail done like this on your car, this is after 1 coat of ceramic. I'll put his info in the description. But as you can see, he cleaned the engine bay as well. One of the first things I check on these cars is how is this bracket looking? Was it really kept out of the elements? Because if it wasn't, it would have started to turn a little bit rusty. And this thing is as clean as it gets. You know, it's a Southern California car its whole life. Pretty much my E90 was the same way. It's like every bolt turns as if it's 1 month old. It's in perfect shape too, but this will be where we make some content on N54s. So, you know, and also just to get some different type of content out there. 1 Series, it's cool. You know, it's an M Sport anyway, and it's really loaded, but to make this look like a 1M convertible, to revisit mods, to kind of go with everything I've learned over the years and tailor them toward my likings. It's kind of cool to have another chance at one of these. I definitely wouldn't have wanted an N55 because it wouldn't have gotten to the power level I would have hoped for, even though that's a nice, reliable platform. So here's a chance to revisit some mods, maybe rethink how things were done on the E90 and cater them toward my liking on this 1 Series. So hopefully you guys aren't too upset that the E90 is going to go, because we have an E88 right here. It's the same year, same engine, same transmission. A little more fun considering we're in Southern California and it's always clear and sunny for the most part. Perfect type of weather for this type of car. So we will keep the content rolling on these N54s and revisit things and maybe do it with higher production quality now that I've learned some things along the way. Okay, so this car is also going to be for sale. It's a Jules convertible. I believe it's a 2009 LCI. He's in the middle of finishing his restoration on it. It's going to be completely polished and ceramic coated and whatnot. Similar mods, same type of turbos, the Helix, you know, definitely over 500 wheel horsepower. It's an automatic. It just had a rebuilt transmission. So we're going to be featuring this in a future video, but just a heads up, if you're interested in this car instead, then it will be a similar price to mine, and we'll put a link in the description for his contact info. If this is the first video you're catching on mine, please consider subscribing. If you liked it, please give it a like so rank car. Thanks for watching.